Good morning and welcome to our live talk program. This is Lord Gab here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering natural health on your Wednesday morning rise and shine. Natural health that we're doing here this morning. And our topic is how diet shakes and drop-in soda reverse diabetes. So how diet shake and drop-in soda reverse diabetes. So this is what we'll look at this morning here as we do our live talk program covering natural health. Welcome. Hopefully you had a blessed night rest, and let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, we thank thee again for the blessings of your word. We thank you for the blessings of the instructions that you give us and the encouragement you give us, dear Lord, to take care of our bodies and to live healthy lives. May you bless us, dear Father, as we look at this thing as how to be able to maintain a healthy body and avoid the disease of diabetes. May you bless us, we pray, for Christ's sake. Amen. So this again is how diet shake and drop-in soda will reverse diabetes, and I'll be sharing some other information with you here on how to be able to maintain a healthy blood sugar levels and some things to do also to lose weight. So how to maintain a proper blood sugar levels and how to lose weight. We're going to look at various different things, but I have one main article I'm going to share with you here this morning that deals with this idea of a diet shake. And so, a milkshake or a smoothie or a nut shake normally is what I'll be talking about here. So I'm going to use this article as a backdrop because I really believe that it's sometimes important for one to put in one diet something that's going to help them move away from the high calories that are normally associated with just eating a regular meal for every single meal of the day. So substituting out like a diet shake or something like that will help you in a great way, or help somebody as if you pass this information along. That would be a good tool, so to speak, or methodology to use to be able to drop calories, cut the amount of fat, and free up the body from the excess weight that normally is gained by the constant eating of meals or even eating heavy meals. And so, as the article is going to present, I'll present this information with you. But I want to say up front that the article is going to be talking about having multiple liquid as your, as meals, so liquid meals. I'm not a proponent of that per se in the sense of multiple liquid meals, but I'm a proponent of substituting out at least one or two meals, depending on your situation, to be able to maintain a healthier body weight and to cut the amount of fat that one puts in, but still get the nutrients you need, but cut the energy that you're consuming, because most naturally a person that's having diabetes problem, it's either they're having too much energy or they're having too much fatty food or both. And so you want to be able to cut that. And so we're going to present this here, and then I'm using this as a constant or show that the various different experiments that they're running out there are validating the type of methodologies that I would encourage people to do to be able to lose weight and to maintain a healthy weight. You got to look at it that if you cut fat, cut energy, your body has no choice but to drop the weight. And so this is where the problem is. And one of the method or tool is to be able to use a shake, a smoothie, nut shake. And the second thing here, most naturally, is to cut soda. So we'll go ahead and I'll share the article, and then I'm going to share after that. And through the article, I'll share some ideas that are important for you to follow. And that, so if I say to the person, look, probably you need to cut a meal out altogether, and that meal is you're not gonna remove it altogether if especially if you have a long day, because you could cut a meal out, but you have such a long day that your body craves, and when you eat the other two meals that you eat for the day, you overeat. So it's better just to feed the body in a way that it will be able to not be overweight. Anyhow, so we're going to the article. It's entitled How Diet Shake and Drop-in Soda Reverse Diabetes, and this is written by Maggie Fox here at NBC News. And she goes on to say, Eric Smith comes from the part of Ohio where fizzy soft drinks are called pop. He also called them his beverage of choice for lunch, dinner, and snack. It says, so when He was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in November 2016. Smith knew he was going to have to cut down. In fact, he cut out all sugary soft drink and switched to water. He stopped eating fast food, white bread, other junk, and in the space of a few months, he turned around his diabetes and has normal blood sugar now. So that's important to note here, that here's a person faced with a type 2 diabetes diagnosis, went on a very severe change. He just started to cut things in his life. And normally when we're faced with crisis, normally it causes us to have to take some crisis mode or intervention. We have to go into what we call crisis mode. We have to start to do something fast. And what he did here, as he will continue to elaborate, he cut out again. He cut out all sugary drink, including pop. He cut out white bread. He cut out other junk food. He stopped eating fast food. And in the space of a few months, his diabetes or his blood sugar level became normal. So that's insignificant. So you could have a person struggling with something like diabetes for 5-10 years, even more, and the simple solution or the fastest solution to get there is just to cut out these things out of the diet. And if you cut them out, the person will find that it could take months to get over this thing. It doesn't have to take so long. On Tuesday, a large study confirmed what Smith and other people like him had found. A strict weight loss diet can reverse the progress of type 2 diabetes and bring many people back to normal. I was drinking maybe 6 cans of pop a day if you average it out, said Smith, a 40-year-old bookkeeper. So he was drinking 6 cans. Every meal I would have 1, maybe 2 with lunch, 2 with dinner. If it wasn't pop, it was a sugary drink somewhere. So if you calculate up what's going on there, you'll see real quickly the amount of empty calories he was putting in his body. His body was not going to be able to use all that energy that he was consuming. And so that energy is going to convert and store in the body. And so some people say, well, is it the sugar that is a problem? Partly because it's going to it's stored and clog the system up. It's going to depress his immune system and so forth. So when you look at the amount of calories he was taking in, it's very high. And the results is going to be stated next. And Smith was likely, like so many American, obese. I was up to 390 pounds. So if you look at it, the numbers would work out. The volume of sodas, taking 6 soda a day on average, 1 in the morning, probably 2 for lunch, 2 for dinner, and probably you would even sneak in 1 more in between. That's almost 6, think about it, 6 cans a day, all that calorie, it translated into a large person, 390 pounds. He joined the Cleveland Clinic Lifestyle Essential Program, which included a series of 6 appointments to help people learn how to improve their habits. By changing his diet and adding in just a little exercise, he dropped weight and controlled his blood sugar. I am down to 340, 350 right now, Smith says, and his blood sugar is in the normal healthy range, right? So we pause there again. So when you think about that, right, he dropped only about 40 pounds and over the space of a few months. And but just by dropping 40 pounds, he's still large, but just by dropping 40 pounds, he has basically got his blood sugar into normal, because the body, imagine the body is fighting to get the sugar into the cell. And as the body is doing that fight, is up against great odds. And just by giving the body a little relief, the blood sugar, the sugars can go through into the cell just by freeing up the body from the excess fat. Not a lot, as you say, for weight gain. 40 pounds is phenomenal, it's great. But if you think about it, for his size, 40 pounds he's just starting, and yet he got such phenomenal results. Then that tells you then that so many people are suffering, going through so much pain and suffering from type 2 diabetes does not have to go through this, because it's simply change that is needed. Is per se not earth shattering. It's earth shattering, I guess, because the lifestyle becomes so entrenched. It's more evidence that weight loss alone can control diabetes, which kills more than 70,000 Americans every year. Other studies have shown that weight loss surgery can help reverse diabetes, but that's an extreme option. The study released today showed people can do it with diet. So it's important to note here what they said again. And, I had a technical difficulty and I came back online. So it's important to note what they says here about weight loss and the surgery, because they'll do the surgeries as it says. But if you can do something like simple, just a diet shake, and get the type of results that he got, then you can see what you're simply doing is just filling the body and getting the body to think that it's full, so to speak, and satisfied, but not have to go to the extreme of surgery. And not everybody can really do the surgery, as the article will later say. Other studies have shown that weight loss surgery can help reverse diabetes, but it's an extreme option. If this study shows that the low-calorie diet is an effective and practical way to put type 2 diabetes into remission, now and in the long term, it could completely transform the way type 2 diabetes is treated, says Diabetes UK, a charity for people affected by diabetes that paid for and sponsored the study. Bariatric surgery can achieve remission of diabetes in about 3/4 of people, but it is more expensive and risky, and is only available to a small number of patients. Roy Taylor of Britain's Newcastle University, who helped lead the study. The weight loss goals provided by this program are achievable for many people, Tyler says. The Britons in the study went on a much stricter weight loss diet than Smith's do-it-yourself regime, managed with the help of the Cleveland Clinic. The British researchers recruited and tested nearly 300 people who agreed to be randomly assigned to a strict diet or the usual care, which included weight loss counseling, but they stayed on their diabetes medication. Everyone was overweight and had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in the past 6 years. Half the patients went off all their diabetes and blood pressure medication and followed a strict diet. The low-calorie diet of 800 calories a day is made up of 4 soups or shakes. These have all the essential vitamins and minerals, Diabetes UK say. So I'll pause there. Again, it's important to note here that going on 4 soup and 4 shake a day, they made it that it was equal up to 800 calories. So that's a lot of calories, especially if a person need to consume, say, 2,000 calories a day or 2,500, depending on the person's size and so forth and how active they are. So imagine, just go with the number 2,000. So if the person is doing 2,000 calories a day, and that's what they need, and you put them on a diet that is basically cutting a certain amount of calories, but they still get all their basic vitamins and minerals. So they have the right amount of vitamins and minerals, but they're cutting energy. So they're cutting the amount of carbs, fat, and the amount of carbs, fat, and protein out of their diet. Well, what this is going to do is they're going to just more than lose water. They're going to basically lose fat, because the body's going to have to start burning stored energy. This is the type of thing that one wants to do. As it says, when it comes out to anything real in life, you always have to look at the numbers, and the numbers never lie. And so as long as the person is doing something where the body is going to be forced in a situation where it has to take stored energy and use that stored energy, then what it is, the person will have long-term gain, long-term weight loss, and they will have the gains that they need. Now, these have all essential vitamin and minerals. So when you think about it, this is why I believe, like in a nut shake, where the person will have the nuts and they'll make like a shake from that, a nut shake instead of a milkshake. And they'll basically have the nutrients they need because they'll put the various different things with it, whether it be banana, dates, all this type of stuff, whatever they want to have, tropical berry. And they'll drop their calories, they'll get a healthier diet. And what it is that they take out, at least as I say, 1 to 2 meals a day. Depends on how severe the situation is and depends what they can handle. And what that will do is force their body to start to burn. My choice of diet shake that needs to be selected is always the dinner, the evening, where the person now remove from the evening their meal, their cooked meal or their food, and they'll go to a smoothie, shake, anything like that, a liquid, something liquid. It could even be soup, a nice, vegetable soup. Anything that's liquid that's gonna go through the system real fast. It's gonna be very low in calories. What that will do is automatically, they don't have to do much calculation. It'll automatically drop their calorie intake. This will drop their fat intake. It will limit the amount of fat they'll take in for 1 meal or 2 meals. And as I say, if it's 2 meals, it would be the lunch and dinner meal. Or it could be just lunch and breakfast, but always believe in a heavier breakfast. And if they do that, what you find is that the person will automatically start lose. But to me, the most essential and critical meal is the dinner. That has to be cut and cut by a smoothie so the person still feel full, but they don't have to worry about going to bed hungry or go through the day hungry, because at that point they drink it, and then within a few hours they normally will be going to bed. So this will work. So when you look at this is why it works. And if you you add that to cutting out sugary foods, all junk foods, there's no doubt the person's going to start losing the visceral belly fat, especially. And they're going to start tightening up, because what it is, the body will start burning that stored, because the body basically store fat in the midsection, of the body. So when you look at the way they set up this experiment here I'm reading about, you got to get results, because the person is partaking of the liquid, but the person is feeling full. Because what I normally say to a person is that whatever amount of smoothie shake you're gonna drink, you gotta drink it till you're full. It can't be you drink it until you just think, well, I just need 1 cup or 2 cups. No, you drink to satisfy you that you feel full, because you don't want to feel like after you finish, oh, I need to eat more food. You need to be full, and it satisfy you, and that will feed your brain this idea that you're full, you don't need anything more, and you're good. And by doing that now, you just cut out how many calories. Because if they're saying here's a low calorie diet of 800 calories a day, that means they're doing 200 calories per 200 calories per smoothie or per shake or per soup. So if you see that there, say even if you'd made a nut smoothie and it was, or nut shake and it was 300 calories, you're still way ahead of the curve, because what you're doing is you're cutting at least 300 calories for the day, 300 to 400 calories for the day. That's what you're cutting out by just having one nut shake and replacing that with a meal. You're cutting out at least 300 to 400 calories a day. That means if you had 2 meals and a nut shake, you will be down to, instead of 2,000 calories, you'll be down to probably 1,700, 1,600 calories for the day. That's 400 calories you're removing out of your diet, 300 to 400. If you did 2, that means if you say you had a heavy lunch or a heavy dinner, a heavy breakfast or a heavy lunch, you substitute 2 smoothies. Now you're down to, 600 to 800 calories out. All that calorie every day now, your body's have to figure out now what to do. And what the body's going to do is start to go for your storage, and it's going to start freeing up on all that fat that is clogging your system. And that's where the success comes in. It's just a matter of calculations, and if you can do that, you'll find out any person you know that's having this struggle, is just to get them to agree to that. If you can make them agree to that, they'll get it. I never know anybody that can do something like this. It won't work long term. This is why people, when they do the bariatric surgery, they'll start gaining weight because they never figured out how to basically rig the system of their diet to be able to keep them healthy and keep them slim. And so they'll just start gaining weight again because they go back to eating the regular way. So one of my fastest way to do this is to cut out simply one of the meal, but not cut it out altogether, because if the person feel hungry, so that they're going to start eating. So to make them still feel, you still feel full, but it will be a different experience. So we continue. Our findings show that at 12 months, almost half the participants achieved remission to a non-diabetic state and of an anti-diabetic drug. So that's significant. So this was reported in the Lancet Medical Journal. So within our findings, they say again, 12 months, half the participant. So that shows you that this is rock solid, because if you have 12 months later, you have half the people. That tells you that that's significant. And off anti-diabetic drug, and they were out of a diabetic state. They achieved remission. That means the diabetes was gone within 12 months. And this is the reality. This is like foolproof, and I've explained it over and over to people. And I've never met a person who have done this methodology that I've never gained success. It's 100% will work, because what you're doing is you're just not getting the calories in, but you're getting your nutrients that you need to continue living. You're feeding your brain. Remember, our brain runs primarily on sugars, a certain type of fat it stores, and then sugars. So you need to be able to get in. So if you're getting a smoothie in, like a nut shake, and it's a fruit nut shake, so you have some almonds, cashews, bananas, berries, tropical fruits, whatever it is, and you just put it in and blend it up, drink that. Your brain have enough sufficient sugars that it needs, the fructose that it needs, and so forth. You'll be fine. But what it is, and you'll be satisfied because you'll be full. So when you're full, you're doing good, because now you don't feel hunger, and you can go to bed, and you can rest, and you can do. You just cut with that smoothie, nut shake, whatever it is. You just cut at least 300 to 400 calories. That's significant, and it could be more, because most of the time people are eating probably 1,000 calories for a dinner. That's when most of us will normally pile on the calories. And so when I say eliminating dinner, if a nut shake, as I say, is 300 calories, and you were going to hit, say, 1,000 calories, that's 700 calories you're cutting just one hit, in one meal. You cut that for one meal. Within 3 months, you're going to be on your way to, if you had diabetes, to be off diabetic medication. And if you now add to that some herbal remedies for diabetes, so blood sugar, herbal remedies, then exercise, and cutting out the sugary drink, as this gentleman did, it's I don't know, I would just say probably that's 100% cure for type 2 diabetes. I don't know who will not succeed from this, or come to very close succession, and probably what they need now is some prayer and fasting to take them over the top. But this is like straightforward. This is not rocket science. So continue going there. After 3 to 5 months of this liquid diet, volunteers gradually allowed to eat small amounts of normal food. The diet was very difficult. I can't say otherwise. Say Isabel Murray, 65, of North Ayrshire, in Scotland. She was the first patient to try the diet. Having just liquid rather than actual food for such a long time, 17 weeks in total, is odd, Murray added in a statement. And as part of the trial, I had to come off all my medication, which was initially a little daunting, but I was absolutely determined. So before I keep going there, so notice there, that 17 weeks is a long time. This is why we suggest that a person will just immediately just readjust to 1 or 2 liquids. But if a person is in a tight situation where they feel desperate, well, you got to do what you got to do. So if it means you're gonna go on all liquid, soups, smoothies, salad, which is not all liquid, but salad, all that type of thing. More of a raw diet and a diet that is rich in mineral, like with soup. You're using all those ground produce and cooking them out with the vegetables like garlic, onions, and so forth. Whatever it is that work, they say you gotta work with whatever works. But I always suggest, because a person could get, they'll miss chewing. So to me, because I know there's options, the liquid diet 100% is not necessary, because there's fruits, there's vegetables, one can eat salads, and so forth. And by doing that, you could do one meal, which is a regular meal. Then you have things like salads, smoothies, soups, that type of thing. And when you do the math, the person will be able to cut calories so rapidly that within a few months, they'll be able to go to their doctor, and the doctor will readjust them gradually off their medication. And that's a safer practice. But here, this lady basically dropped the medication, dropped the heavy caloric intake, and got the results. But it was daunting. But as I say, when you're sick, it's always better to go to the daunting route of changing your diet. Liquid diet can be very effective for weight loss, but they are difficult. To follow. I made a lot of sacrifice, Morris says. My husband did all the cooking and food shopping. My husband and any guest would eat in the dining area, and I ate separately in the living room. It was also around the time my first grandchild was born, but I stuck to it, she added. Having a liquid diet made it easier in some ways, as I didn't have to think about food. I also had great support from all my family and friends. Smith also got support from friends and family, and he enlisted his 14-year-old son, Ashton. They had been in an habit of shopping for fast food after Ashton wrestling practice. Before he ate what I ate, and what I bought, he did. Now he still does that. Smith says, before I didn't eat breakfast. Now I'm trying to eat something. It may be a protein bar during the week, but on the weekends we'll have eggs, maybe wheat toast, or having some oatmeal, he added. Lunch, some kind of chicken and a salad. He may have a chicken sandwich, but I usually eat my chicken on the salad. Dinner, we'll have chicken or turkey, and sometimes a pork chop. Well, we'll have salad. We'll try to have a vegetable with it, and maybe rice and small potato with it. It's not easy as grabbing a burger at a drive-thru, but Smith was determined to change his diet. It's hard. I figured out where I get home early than he does from practice, so I start cooking ahead of time. Monday I can start prepping for on Sunday, which is great. You get a plan. You plan your meal ahead of time and know what you're going to cook. So let's just take some of what he says there and kind of break this down a little bit. So here he says that this is the main person there featured in the article again, which is Smith here, and he's saying that what he did basically was that he had to incorporate his son with him. The lady before basically just separated herself from everybody else. It was just easy that way. So they eat what they're eating, and they eat what they're eating, and she ate what she would need to eat, and that would be it separately. So he kind of incorporated. So basically, his primary thing was he cut out again with Smith here. Cut out. He would start to drink some liquid in his diet. Some smoothies and stuff. He will start to. He had cut out all sugary drinks, and he got his results. Notice here that he started eating breakfast. That's a major thing that I notice a lot of time, that the way how the diet is structured in most places is that many people will eat a very heavy dinner. So in breakfast time, they just skip breakfast, and it becomes almost an impossibility. And often I think that the problem is not so much to get a person to go light for dinner, Probably the bigger problem is that the person is so used to eating nothing for breakfast because they kind of store it up because they had the heavy dinner. So what you have to do, the bigger problem is to get them to do both. It's like what the guy said here, that he has to start eating something. Notice he says, before I didn't eat breakfast. So he had to start eating breakfast. Because if you add some breakfast, what will happen is that a person will feel like, well, I ate breakfast, so now I ate lunch, so dinner, I probably don't need to eat as much. But if a person doesn't eat breakfast, it's going to be almost difficult for them to really gonna want to eat dinner. You know, no, sorry, I should say, person didn't eat breakfast, then they kind of have to store up and build up for the evening because you need some calories in. But if you eat breakfast, the drive to eat a huge lunch, a huge dinner is not there because your calories are already in. It's just the switch has to be like a 2 for 1. The main aim is to eat light in the evening. But in order to get there, one has to start eating something in the morning. So what he started doing is just start eating, a bar or something. Just get something in the morning. And then if you have something in the morning when it's time for lunch, you don't feel so ravenous. When it's time for dinner, well, I already had a certain amount of food for the day, so I'll back off. And that's the way I feel. And if you try this, you'll find it work. If you have something heavy for lunch and if you're not as pressed to want to go for 3 big heavy meals. But if you're snacking through the day and grazing and skipping meal, there's gonna come a point where what happened? Man, I had nothing really solid for the day, so bam, I'm gonna eat heavy in the evening. That's where the trouble kicks in. So you gotta do a 2 for 1. You gotta start taking up something and put something in your stomach. Either you don't want it because normally you're breaking a habit, and the habit is you have a bad habit for eating a big dinner. So breakfast, I don't feel like food. And most people, I've known people thought it was weird that you'd want to eat something heavy in the morning because they're not breaking a fast because they slept all night and damaged their digestive tract by having all that food in their stomach while they sleep. So notice here, he just simply says he just learned to just eat some meals through the day, and that's better for him. And I think that's better for everybody, most naturally. It's more healthier. Continuing the article, it says, in Britain, the people who lost the most weight were more likely to see their blood sugar levels go down. About a quarter of those who tried the diet lost more than 30 pounds, the researchers found. Additionally, nearly half of the weight management group, 68 out of 149, achieved diabetes remission at 1 year, compared to only 4% of the control group. The team wrote, on an average, participants in the weight management group shed 22 pounds or 10 kilograms of body weight compared to 2 pounds of the control group. So if you notice there again, the process work. If you cut calories, the results will follow. That's just the reality. You cut calories, the results will follow, because what will happen is that the body will be unclogged. And when you unclog the system, you won't have the struggles that a person will have with diabetes. So the results would automatically follow. While diabetes symptoms disappear, patients are not considered cured. It's been shown if people regain weight, the diabetes come back. Again, which it goes without saying, because remember, diabetes is just the system is clogged with fat. So if you reclog the system, diabetes come back. So diabetes is really just a mechanical, I would call it, disease. It's not a disease like, say, malaria that you catch, and it has nothing to do with what you did. It has something to do with what the mosquito did, or are brought to you. Diabetes is not like that. Diabetes is you clog the system can't get sugars into the cells. You unclog it, the system opens up. It's mechanical. It's just an issue of mechanics. So if I'm talking about diabetes and even high blood pressure or other things like that, it's body mechanics. It's just you have to figure out the mechanics. So the mechanics, as I say, is how to cut calories. You cut the calories, you get the results. You increase the calories, you get the results. It's just a body mechanics. So the question is how to. So somebody could say, well, there's other methods. Sure, there's other methods, but at the end of the day, all the methods that will work is body mechanics. Whether it be exercise, you just increase your exercise to a point where you just burn the fat. Body mechanics again. If you can do all of that, sure, you could go on a diet that is just very sparse. So a diet that is just, basically ground produce, very low in fat. Whatever it is that you're going to do, at the end of the day, anything that is mechanically will cut the amount of calories will work and you'll get the results. So, but as you see here, the group that lost the most weight are the ones that got the best results, but they're still not considered a cure because diabetes is a lifestyle disease. About 30 million Americans have diabetes, mostly type 2, in which the body gradually loses the ability to produce and use insulin to turn food into energy. That's more than 9% of the population, and more than a third have blood sugar so high they're almost diabetic. About 3/4 of Americans are overweight or obese, both conditions that often cause diabetes. Diet, exercise, medication, or insulin can help control diabetes, but if it's poorly controlled, it can cause damage that leads to heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, amputation, and blindness. So if you look at this here, this is why it's so important, because there's many people who are having eye problem, vision problem, circulatory problem, that is simply because they're pre-diabetic and they just haven't been properly tested. Heart problem, heart attack, because diabetes and heart problem goes hand in hand, whether the person is fat or slim. Why? Because the person is clogged. A person could be slim and clogged, or a person could be, fat and clogged. And so if you're clogged, well, your heart is overworking. Hence, it's not just the sugars are not getting through to the cell to feed the cell. It's also just every single nutrient can't get through. So the heart is overworking. Person will have a heart attack. Stroke is the same thing. The whole brain area is clogged up. Kidney failure, because the system is clogged. That's why it's good to do a kidney flush, just to flush the self of all things that clog the system. So this is why I believe that it's not just losing weight. It's important for the person to unclog every organ in their body, because a person that's having diabetes is a person that has blockages, I believe, stones probably, kidney, gallstone, kidney stone, liver is blocked, not working properly. So the liver, kidney, gallbladder, urinary tract is messed up. The whole system is clogged. The digestive system is clogged. They need a flush because what happened? The colon has been beaten up all these years by being clogged and so forth. So you look at it, it is just unclogging the system. Many people in the natural world have a philosophy where they say basically constipation is the only disease. The person is constipated. And they're constipated in the arteries, they're constipated in the colon, in the kidney, the liver, the brain is constipated, the whole person is constipated. Sometimes you even deal with a person, they're very angry, and you realize they're emotionally constipated, but probably they're physically constipated also. And that constipation is leading them to become angry and irritable. And the moment you unconstipate them, they relax. And this is why Bible is good, Bible religion is beautiful, because it teaches a person to get forgiveness, give forgiveness, seek peace, and unconstipate themselves spiritually and emotionally. And then now you add to that the dietary unconstipated, and you find that the person totally is unconstipated, and they can't finally relax and not be so uptight and constipated. So it can lead to amputation, because especially and blindness, as lasted there, because if a person is not having circulation in the lower extremities, it will lead to like gangrene, as well as they have to cut off their foot. Blindness, because the small capillaries that feed the eyes will get clogged first, and this is why again the person is clogged up, the eyes goes can lead to blindness. So very important. So you see people struggling with all these things that we just mentioned here, and the simple solution for that is to actually start to doing some of these things like on a liquid for one meal or two meals. We continue here. The studies have shown that bariatric surgery can improve blood sugar control in obese people with diabetes. Some can even stop taking medication. That's the goal for people in the British study. The big challenge in long term is long term avoidance of weight regain, Tyler said. The volunteers will be studied for 4 years to see if they can control their diabetes long term. And that's Smith's goal too. After a divorce last year, he has sole custody of Ashton. The big turnaround was being divorced, being diabetic, being overweight. It was like I'm all he has, Smith says. I need to be healthy for him and make sure I am staying around for him. So that's very good for him to do, for his son, and especially for himself. Because what simply is happening there is that it takes away the quality of life. It makes one life live where it is not fun, and it is not going to be fun to be around a person because the focal point of the person is dealing with the sickness, and it engrosses life. It slows down the life. It takes away the fun out of life. And so one would have a quality life, and to me, the way for that is not to eat one way into disaster or disastrous experience, but to go right on ahead and have a better experience by removing some of the things. So most naturally, a few thoughts here that I want to share when it comes on to kind of putting this together. As I say, for yourself and for those you know who are going through this problem with diabetes or artery, coronary artery problems. It depends how you can go, how you are. Eating 2 to 3 meals a day, daily, is essential. Now, where you start is eating 3 meals a day. Now, for some people, they can go on a 2 meal plan. That means they could do lunch and breakfast, and that's it. They eat an early lunch, late breakfast, and they're good for the day. They won't feel hunger pain, they won't feel dizzy, they won't feel anything. A lot of people, they can do that. For some, that's going to be a problem. So if you're going to have a third meal, then you eat a regular breakfast, regular timed. 5 hours later, you eat lunch. And then in the evening, you just have a nut shake. Sorry, so you have a nut shake. So you eat 2 to 3 meals on a daily basis. This is essential. And I say if it depends on the person. If you're really in a bind, as a protocol, you just simply go on two shake a day, and that's it. So you have one meal, one smoothie, shake, not shake, one another not shake. And what that'll do will cut your diet. If you find that you can't do that because you were a person that was eating 4, 5, 6 meals a day, then you do 1 meal, 2 meal, one nut shake, a second nut shake. That's 4. Or you do 1 meal, 1, 2, 3 nut shake. Whatever it is that will work. Depends on what situation you're in. Because as I say, there's some of us, especially if people been into exercise or stuff like that, that will teach you eat 4 meals a day, 5 meals a day, 6 meals a day, 7 meals a day. It's just crazy. You just keep eating. And people can get into this bad habit where they're like cows, you're grazing. And now you gotta cut back. So if I come around, I say to a person now, you need to eat 2 meals a day. And if it's 2 meals, it's gonna be breakfast, late lunch. They'll be like, that sounds crazy. But you don't need all that calories. If the first proof that the person don't need a lot of calories is that they're overweight. That means most of the food they're eating is just going to storage. It's not need. It's basically it's just more than you need. Let's call it that way. So eating 2 to 3 meals a day becomes the goal, and having something. And somebody said, must it be a nut smoothie? Well, no. It could be a salad. If it's going to be a salad, it could have to be probably 2 salads a day. Like how the gentleman says, you would just have some chicken and greens, some salads. It could be a setup like that: chicken, salad, you know, probably something, carbs, salad. You cut back something, you cut out something. And that's the way to get success. So eating 2 meals a day, but the makeup of the meal, when I say meal, you have to see greens, yellows, reds, purples. Gotta have color in that food. It can't be all brown. So it can't just be rice and protein. And you gotta get some greens in there. You gotta get some peppers, bell peppers, some various different colorful things in there. And if you eat that, what happens? You're still eating to full. Your body will go through the digestive process. But what will take place now is that the calories are cut. And you want to cut your calories but eat to full. And again, you have to be able to start for diabetes. One of the solution that is often not talked about, but it's to eat all your meals on the same time, at the same time on clockwork is important. This to me is one of the big ones that most people don't talk about. The timing. That means if you eat your meal 6 a.m., you gotta eat at 6 a.m. every morning. Now I'm not saying you can't break it once probably for the week, but it gotta be consistently at least 6 times a week. 6 a.m. on the dime. You gotta just eat that same meal. Why? Because the body works off rhythm and the body has its own clock. That's why many people can actually wake up without a clock or go to bed without a clock because their body knows shutdown time and they'll just go to bed. They just can't help it. So that's one of the ways it works against us, but it can work for us if you understand what the body's doing. You work with the body. So what the body's telling you, I work on time. So you train the body. At this time of the day, I eat. The body will intelligently learn your schedule, and you train the body so the body knows now it's time to eat. The body will prep up for the food. So you eat your meals at the same time, and this will help gain control. Basically, you're retraining your body. But in order for you to train something, it is not normal for it. So somebody said, well, if I have to eat at a certain time of the day, I'm not used to that. That's not the point. The point is you're training. So with training, you're just going to rebuild the system. And it takes a while for the system to learn it, so it won't come automatic immediately. But after the system learns, the system will know 1 o'clock is lunch. And you've started to find 1 o'clock. All of a sudden, it's like a light bulb go off. And all of a sudden, you start to think lunch. Even if you were doing something, you forgot that you're supposed to add lunch. The brain will just click right in and it'll be like telling you lunchtime. And all of a sudden, you start thinking food. And oh yeah, the body's learning the training. But your body won't do it unless you break it. You got to break it. You got not break the body, but break the habit. You got to break it. And that's why, to me, I love the idea of Christ, because what Christ showed is that the way to deal with sin is rough. And that's why people are, mamby-pamby and petting themselves and excusing themselves. They're joking, it won't work. You got to look at the cross. And what you learn from the cross is not just that Christ died to save you of your sins, but you learn, wow, that's what he has to do to deal with sin. Yep, you got to break that thing. You got to crucify it. And the only way to do this, if I'm talking to you and it sounds hard, is because you need to look at the cross. When you look at the cross, you're like, okay, I get it. I need to approach it like that. There need to be some blood, sweat, and tears. And when you do this, then you can start breakfast, lunch, 2 meals for the day. If you can't stomach that because you're just being so out of whack, 3 meals for the day: breakfast, lunch, salad, smoothie, whatever. Get a salad, throw some nuts in there. Nuts will slow down the digestive process, and that's your dinner. Something light, some protein salad, some carb salad. That's it, you're done. And what your body will start to do is start cutting that visceral belly fat. And it will work, but it works because you got to get some pain in there. And not pain that you'll be checked into the hospital. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about you got to crucify the mindset that you have and the bad habits that you have. No snacking in between meals. That goes without saying. And if you must snack, if you run into a problem, remember that there's some quick solutions that will fix your problem, give you the energy that you need. Dates is one of them. bananas. Apple is a lighter solution, but to me, the go-to if you really, like as I say, not snack, but you're really hungry, you're feeling famished, and you're about to go to bed. You don't need to sit down and eat a bowl of cereal. Now you could eat a bowl of cereal; it could be so light because cereal, especially like corn flakes, is nothing to it. So if it's a good enough time and you feel like just need a little bit more, something like a corn flakes could be something low calories, not going to do much. I'm not talking about frosted flakes, I'm just talking about your straight corn flakes. And if you run into a situation and yeah, I'm not gonna go to bed immediately, but I just need a little bit something as simple as that. But you got to know how to play the game. You got to look at that box and say how much calories, and you're like, oh, this is a winner. Bam, and you do what you have to do. But remember again, you got to know if you're gonna snack. And when I mean snack, I mean it's not time for you to eat. You feel just famished. Sometimes a banana will take half an hour to about 45 minutes to digest. Something like some of the dry fruits like dates, raisins, things like that, they'll take a little bit longer to digest because they have no fluid in them. And so there are very little fluid and they're very sugary, so they'll give you some energy and to tie you over. Hopefully that makes sense. And if it don't make sense, you can always contact me. I can give you the more nitty gritty explanation, or work with you to make you get the practice down pat. Increase whole foods in your diet most naturally. The more whole the food is the more the food absorbs slower. So it doesn't hit the blood sugars hard because there's a lot of sugar and then the insulin has to be trying to catch up. It just slowly feeds you the nutrients so your body don't have any spike in nutrients. So that's why this guy did it beautiful by cutting out the sugary foods, the sugary beverages, cutting out the white flour, white rice, all that stuff, and bam, he gets the result. So it's important to know that. Also, your pattern. Also, remember the body works on patterns, so you got to preempt yourself for the pattern, as I said earlier. Whatever that pattern you get yourself into, you got to work with the pattern because the moment you can know when you're going to mess up, and so you plan ahead. How you going to mess up? You know that this evening or this afternoon you have somewhere to go. You have, say, an appointment. You're going to your doctor's. That's a good one. You're going to the doctor. You know you're going to be there for a certain time, so you know you're definitely not going to get home in time to be able to eat at your regular scheduled hour. Well, that's the day that the evening before, you run to the store and you get like one of those energy bars. You get something like, the Lara bar. It has dates and nuts in it. And so you get that bar, you have it on the old, and you just eat that. That's your dinner. And you probably take 2 bananas, and that's your dinner. A bar with some dates, nuts, and 2 bananas. You feel full and you're good. You're on a diet, and you're gonna whip this diabetes. And this is how you're gonna whip the diabetes. The diabetes is not gonna conquer you, you're gonna conquer it. So you simply plan ahead. You know your schedule, you know when things are gonna go wrong. There's times in life when things are gonna go wrong, and all you're gonna do, you have no choice. You just stop at the restaurant and get some food. It's a wash. Don't worry about that. But you consistently, when you know, I have an appointment, I have something I have to do, and I don't know when it's gonna over, bring something with you. Something to snack on, something to eat. Bring a meal. And that's how you beat this. And all of a sudden you find that even the inconsistencies in life, you're going to be able to ride those waves. Now, again, every now and then something's going to happen way out of your control that you didn't plan for. You don't panic. You just go ahead and eat your food and you're all right. It's the daily things that you do in the normal schedule of life that are going to make you have success. And so if you notice, you will know also one of the things that I always say to people, know how long something takes to digest. Soup does not take long to digest because it's liquid. It goes through the body fast. So don't eat soup as your main meal. You'll be kidding yourself. You'll go hungry and then you'll be like raiding the fridge or the pantry. Don't do that. Soup, basically, that's why I say if in the evening have a bowl of soup, that it won't take long to digest. It probably take 3 hours or so to digest. If it's not a soup that's so too thick. Know that smoothie don't take long to digest, so that can't be a main meal. This is one of those meals that is just a meal to cut calories. And as I say, if you're a person that eat real heavy, one smoothie won't do. You probably have to have two to substitute for one meal. But no, so know that some things, anything that is very liquidy, like mashed potato and gravy with some protein. It could take long to digest. It could go real fast. Knowing how food digests and know how long it takes by your body, because each person's metabolic system works different. My metabolism is very fast. Yours probably is very fast. It could be very slow. If it's slow, what will happen is that it probably take longer for you. Know that, so if you're a person that you drink a bowl of soup and it takes you 5 hours to digest, I drink it, it takes 3 hours to digest. We're different. So I might suggest this to you. You tried, you're like, it didn't work. I'm like, yeah, it didn't work because it won't work for you. You need to readjust. You probably need a more liquid soup. I probably drink a very thick soup and I still blow through it and I'm hungry later on. You got to know your body. And it only comes by trial and error. And as you try, whatever, it'll take you probably a month, 2 months, and you start to, oh, I get this, what he's saying. And you do it and you get the results and you'll be like, wow, this really worked. But remember, everything I'm saying here is rock solid. But again, there's always little changes depending on the person because, as I say, some people burn very high because even their lifestyle is very high. They're doing things that are very active. Some people, they don't do a lot of activities, so they can't eat a lot of food because if they eat it, they're gonna get overweight because they sit at a desk all day long. They're not doing anything to cause them to sweat, so they just don't need as much calories. And again, the proof is gonna be, look at your body. If you have a lot of fat in your body, that means you're overeating. That's just simply what it is. And you're eating at the wrong time of the day. Moderate exercise, consistent exercise is always better than trying to win it in 1 week. Just consistently, a few times a week, exercise is better. You'll get the results over a period of 3 months. I always say to the person, whatever you're going to do, give yourself 3 months to see what works. And when it works, that's your program. Stick to it. It'll give you the benefits long term. Maintain proper water consumption. It's always important to drink an amount of water that is needed for your body. And also, it's important to consider, as I say, having some emergency food on you. A nutritional bar is always something I go to, but the probably number one emergency food I have on me, especially if you have blood sugar, you probably have dip in energy level and go famish. So I always have something like almonds, which this is the number one go-to food. Emergency food, this is what I'm talking about. Something that sometimes I'll have in my knapsack with me. Or I bring to me, especially if I know I'm going somewhere and I'm going hungry. I don't have to worry about stopping at a restaurant, stopping anywhere for food. I just get some almonds and start eating, and I'm fine. And I won't have any blood sugar spike or anything like that. I won't feel hungry because I have something to eat. Almond is just like a survival food. And that's just how I look at it. If you want to survive and you want to win in this race, have some almonds. You could have some dates also, or travel with some bananas. And you eat 2 bananas, you'll be fine. I've sat and ate up to 6 bananas in a row. That's a daunting task because after a while your brain starts telling you, oh, stop, it's too much. But I've just done it in a row, just in a period of probably a week. Just keep eating large volumes of banana to see what it is. So I've tested out a lot of this stuff and I know it works. You just got to test it out and try for yourself what you can do to be able to feel full, cut the calories, and you'll be fine. Also important, lastly, here is to increase sticky food in your diet. That foods like dates and oatmeal, those type of foods go slowly through the digestive tract, and as they go slowly through the digestive tract, you'll find that you will not get blood sugar spikes and so forth. So if you do these things, as I encourage you, you'll get the results. Somebody say, well, they're difficult because I've been struggling long with this problem. Yes, because as I say, probably the main thing you need to do is focus on Christ's method. Christ's method and his method alone will bring success. And so how you want that success, you want to look at it and you want to approach it like what Christ does. You got to get vicious with this thing. You got to get serious because it's a vicious disease. It will cause you to lose your eyes, lose your extremities, get your foot chopped off. And so you got to be able to say, look, I'm going to chop off all that sodas. I'm going to chop off all that extra food. I'm going to start eating the proper time. I'm going to fast through the night and break the fast in the morning, have a breakfast. I'm going to start eating on schedule. I'm going to start having some emergency food on me so that I have to run to the restaurant. I'm going to take this seriously and I'm going to win this thing because I follow Jesus. Amen. This is what you want to do. And when you do this, you'll get the results. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, we thank thee again for the blessings of your word. We thank you for the blessings of knowing you, the only true God. May you bless us as we go through the rest of this day. And be with us, dear Lord, we pray for Christ's sake. Amen. God bless you, and thanks for being with me here on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow morning, where we should talk about current events. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.